Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Dislife Podcast. I am your host, Mark Valentine. Welcome back to this Dislife Podcast. I'm so excited to be here today. I welcome James and I had so much fun last week setting the internet on fire that I said, hey, buddy, let's hit the rewind button and do it one more time. But to make it extra fun, we invited the queen of the hot take, Sarah, to join the show.
Is that my new name?
That's it.
It is.
No longer just Sarah with an H. You are Sarah, queen of the hot take. I think that that's very appropriate. She brought you such great hits as Elf was not that good. The Tron roller coaster needed to be removed. And she's also not a fan of Tinkerbell, by the way. So we should also get into those at some point today. Turn it into a therapy session. But James and Sarah, welcome back to the show. Welcome to the Tiki Root Studio.
No, if we weren't all, wonderful adults, we should have totally made this like one of those pretend to be drunk, like
oh my goodness,
where you're not really drunk, but you're just like acting like you would. Yeah. And we're all sitting around a bar having like one of those life moments.
I've got a soundbite that I could hit, but I'm not going to do
it. Let's save all those for adult game night. But just as a reminder, before we get into the fun and try to break the internet yet again, you can find all of our episodes at this Dislife Podcast over at www.thisdislifepodcast.com. And it would be a tremendous favor if, while you're hanging out there, if you click the rate the show button, and that sends you over to Apple Podcasts, and then you leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. And then that helps us get a little bit higher on their ranking system so that we can get the show out to more people and just hang out and have a good time. So guys, 2 weeks ago, the whole premise of this show was 2 weeks ago, I set the internet somewhat on fire in our Facebook group, this Dislife Facebook group, where I played a game that we called Refurbish, Reimagine, and Remove. And I put a post up and I said, if you could refurbish, reimagine, or remove any rides over in Walt Disney World, what would you do? And to start the post off, I wound up posting my idea. And then the post turned into more of a, I can't believe what the heck Mark just said, more so than people participating in the post itself. So I apparently... Yeah. So I apparently I offended a lot of people by saying that we needed to remove Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor. Never in a million years would I have thought that this little gem would have been so beloved by so many people to warrant, and have people launch into attacks to say how dare I say that we should remove it. So I said to James today, I said, schedules got a little crazy. I wanted to have a trip report with the Dislife fam, but everyone has been so busy since they got back from Florida. So I said, hey, listen, we had so much fun last week with our episode, and we had some hot takes in last week's episode, and it really made for just really great banter. I said, let's rewind it, James. Let's do it again. And we had to have Sarah on because she's the queen of the hot take. So I'm so interested to play this game today with you all to see how we do. But here's the rules. So Sarah, here are the ground rules. Ready? If any of us pick a ride, it's off the table.
Yes.
So once it's gone, it's gone. Because earlier on in my first season, we didn't have that rule. So I did a lot of shows with Dwayne like this, where Dwayne would pick something and then I would piggyback off it and be like, I agree. It didn't make for good radio. It did not make for good radio. So we want to have good radio here. So if you take something off the table, it's gone. And then, hopefully too, we have some reactions to this. The other thing that I want to tell the audience. So if you're watching us here on YouTube, or if you're listening to us on one of our podcast directories, the three of us have not spilled the beans. None of us know each other's picks. So that is for pure shock value so that we can kind of set the room on fire as well.
And
Except in their month.
I want to go ahead and say this just as proof. Mark just went in and preloaded a bunch of pictures for those watching on YouTube that we can flash up on screen if they're brought up. I'm looking through those pictures, and he for sure does not have my remove on there. So it's not one that has been predicted at all. So I wish you luck, Mark, because you're going to be receiving those emails.
I missed it. And again, all of that hate mail can be sent right to Mouse Ears and Magic Podcast directly.
Way to throw us right under the people mover.
He did that. I told him I was going to throw him under the bus earlier.
Hey, although this did give me a wonderful idea for a new segment on our show.
Oh, no.
Wonderful idea.
Oh, no.
She takes the
So speaking of which, too, so if you're new to our podcast or if you're new to our channel, you can catch James and Sarah all the time. They're on our channel, but they have an amazing podcast called Mouse Ears and Magic Podcast. It's a ton of fun. It's James and Sarah. Brian will hang out from time to time. But they have fun banter. It's on Sunday nights at 5:00, right before we do family game night. You can catch them on YouTube streaming live. And then they take that show, they bottle it all up, add a little bit more extra magic, and then they push it out on podcast directories too. And you can find their podcast everywhere you find podcasts. I'm a huge fan of their show. So it's always a good time when they're going back and forth. They're plotting already. So for those of you who can't see what's happening, while I'm talking here in the studio, Sarah is passing notes in class to James. She just got caught. You should read that aloud for the whole class to see.
Oh, I will. What do you think? Should I tell him?
Go ahead.
I'm thinking it might be a really fun idea. Like we have Marvel Monday, we have all the other everything.
Family game night,
there's like a billion. Yeah. What if we had a mad tea party? As in, we're all mad here. Like crazy ideas.
How does that differ from our normal shows?
This would be themed different. We'd have to do something crazy. I don't know. Babe, we need some backdrops.
Okay. Oh Lord.
So I hope you're enjoying the new backdrop, which was inspired by Pixar's Up today. That one, of course, goes out to Dina Hendry, who is a huge fan of Pixar's Up. Those of you who know Dina Hendry know that is not true. She has not gotten past, I think, 6 or 7 minutes of Up. So when Ellie kicks the bucket, so does she.
Wow.
That's the end of it. We need like an Owen Wilson wow.
Yeah.
But now that I think about it, wow. But we would steal that one. That's a United We fan signature right there.
That is.
All right, so we are chivalrous. So I say let's let Sarah go first, so we don't make the first round tough.
Plus, it's her first time on your show, so
it is too. It is the first time.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like I've been on multiple since we've done multiple things together.
Right.
But, all right. So, do I need to give like an answer for all three of them?
No. So we're just going to do
one at a time.
So let's start with I guess the least controversial of the three. Let's start with a refurbish. So the refurbish, Sarah, too, is you don't want to change the ride, but it's like old, it's rickety, it needs to get a little TLC. Keep it as it is, but like it's starting to break down or it's starting to get a little rough on you.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna like blow y'all's mind with this one. I really don't think you're gonna expect it.
Okay.
I want to refurbish It's a Small World.
Okay.
And y'all all know that it's a ride that I hate. But I think because of like the nostalgia of it, they really need to like kind of update it a bit more, make it more modernized, maybe bring in some new, completely redo the dolls because they're creepy.
I don't hate it.
Whoa.
But like just, maybe speed the ride up just a little bit and definitely like update the
maybe
song.
Maybe tweak the song a little.
Yeah, like update the song to give it a more modern edge. Like, kind of like they did with Mulan. Like you can still recognize the song for what it is, but it's really unique and different at the same time. So like leave touches of what it used to be, but bring it into the 21st century here.
So here's where I would agree. I'm on the same page with you. Is that last room, the white room, you always get stuck in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by the time you get out of that room, you've now heard the theme song at least an additional 12 to 15 times. That's what I think. That's honestly why people like get the shakes when they get off of it. They're just like going crazy. It's like, I've just heard this song at repeat.
Like they feel like a person in a straitjacket in a lighted room.
So on Apple Music, they have Disney Mania Volume 3, and they do have a more hip hop Small World on there. And I don't hate that version at all. So,
if they're gonna go with like, sort of the theme of the ride that they have already is all the different countries and cultures and stuff. What if they did this song in a lot of different genres of music, like a hip hop version, and have it more of like, whatever, and then just keep moving through it where it's all kind of cohesive and it doesn't feel like you're listening to the same song.
I think that's going to be a hot take, but you know what? On this show right now, I don't hate it. Yeah, I'm kind of loving that idea. That's really creative.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know, like, it's such a controversial thing that, like, there's two types of people in this world. You either love that ride or you hate it. I particularly hate that ride, but, because it is such a, one or the other, what if they kind of like brought new life to it?
I dig it.
I don't hate it. James, you're the guest, so go ahead. You go second. You're refurb.
I'm going to go ahead and refurb, and this isn't going to be, a shock or anything. Let's refurb Space. Let's make that track a little smoother, make it a little more bearable on, everybody who gets stuck in that back row, at least, right? It's just a simple one. Let's just refurb that one.
You want to refurb it and not retheme it?
Yeah, I'm good with the refurb. I think the theme would be great if, my eyes would stop shaking enough for me to be able to kind of focus in, like where you get to see some lights and all, right? But my eyes are shaking so much, they're just being jarred around. So
it could be worse. You could ride a rock and roller coaster with no glasses. You don't see nothing but lights.
He likes, so to be clear, he likes the sense of feeling death if you put your hands up that we get chopped off. So he likes all that. He just wants it to be a little bit smoother of the ride.
Are you sure? You're pretty tall. Like, when's the last time you actually rode it?
Space Mountain?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, okay. Think about it. Yeah.
In September.
Shut it and let me finish. Just stop. So, but you weren't thinking about that, like being tall. If it's smoother, you might feel the urge to raise your hands. And
oh no, definitely.
That's it. Gone.
Look, I was terrified to raise my hands.
Look, Ma, no hands.
Look, Ma, no hands.
I was terrified to raise my hands on parts of Big Thunder. There were parts there where I was like, oh, if I put my hands up, they're gone.
Look, there was something that I felt like that, and I'm not a tall person.
If I can't see, then I'm not putting them up. It's like Rock and Roller Coaster. In Rock and Roller Coaster, you're not putting your hands up anyways. I mean, the restraint won't really let you that much. And I mean, you're doing this for the picture, right? So once you get locked in on that for the picture, you're there. You're not moving. Those G's keep you in place. So.
Don't lift your heads, kids.
All right.
That's what I'm doing. I'm refurbing Space. Maybe I'll and can get off of everybody's hit list.
Whatever.
I don't hate it. All right, so my refurbish, it may aggravate or it may upset a lot of people. I'm going to stay in the Magic Kingdom for the first round. So I think all three of us were in the Magic Kingdom for this first refurbish round, which kind of makes sense because it is the oldest park. My refurbish is going to be Peter Pan. I really enjoy Peter Pan. I've kind of joked about Peter Pan and that it's not worth that wait. The only scene in Peter Pan that kind of works for me anymore is the flyover.
Right.
When you're over London. The rest of it, I could just kind of like sleep through. I think it's kind of old. It's kind of dated. I understand that there's a lot of classic like feel to it, but I am just not, I'm not taken aback by Peter Pan the way that people tell me I should be. And the thing is, I love Peter Pan. I'm not like you. I love Tinkerbell. I love Peter. I love Hook. It's one of my favorite intellectual properties. I love the story of it.
I need some popcorn. I can throw it in.
So I think I just screwed up by taking that off of the list for her somewhere else. So that was your remove, wasn't it?
No. And it's kind of the same, but different. Like I want it reimagined, but not necessarily rethemed. Like, okay, if you want to keep it Peter Pan, keep Peter Pan. I love the flower scene, but it really needs some updates, like some major updates. Like some of the parts are freaky weird.
Well, it's a cool ride mechanic too. How it's dug down and you're flying. I like that. I just wish they had a little bit more projection mapping in it. Now, the problem, I said this to John Henson with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Now that you can see what the projection mapping is capable of, like I want that in so many other rides, right? To just add, because dark rides are great, but dark rides sometimes are a little bit too dark for their own good. That projection mapping will add a little ambient light. You can still be in the dark, but it'll add a little bit more light. More stuff comes into focus, and you can still have like animatronics that have an update to them. They have the projection mapping on the face. I would love to see that happen in this ride. That would be my refurb.
That was kind of what I was thinking. Like, they've come so far since that ride was built. Like, I really think they could step it up in a lot of areas. Like, if they want to keep a little bit of it, like maybe keep the flyover and like add a little bit to it. But I mean, that ride, it is a snooze fest.
It's old.
It's dark, and you're floating through the air. It's a little shaky, but
I mean, I know that with that first round, there's going to be people that listen to that and get aggravated because they're all three of the picks, whether it's Space Mountain, whether it's Small World, or Peter Pan. They're nostalgic rides for people, and they're like, don't touch them. We don't want to destroy the essence of those rides. We just want to get a smoother track. We want to get like a little bit different of an aesthetic on Small World, and the same thing on Peter Pan. Like I love those rides. I don't want to get rid of them. I just think they need to get a little bit more updated so that they don't look like they were from the 1970s.
Okay, think about it like this. A lot of people really, really love classic cars. I mean, who doesn't? But do you really want to drive it in the same condition it was like back in the 60s or the 40s or whatever? I mean, you're gonna add some bells and whistles to it. So
I don't hate it. All right, Sarah. So you're up again, but this time we're gonna do Reimagine.
Okay.
So like think Splash Mountain. What's happening to Splash Mountain?
Okay, so I'm not going to go with my first choice on that because I feel like, but I have this like idea for the People Mover. And I know that sounds crazy, but how cool would it be if they kind of like, okay, keep the main idea of the ride, but move it into sections. And like have a Mad Tea Party section where everything is themed to Alice in Wonderland, and you feel like you're in Alice in Wonderland looking out at the park. And it's like, comfortable and cushy and like funny and whatever. And then other sections. So it's not like one of those rides you're just getting onto, bleh. And make it a ride you can drink on or whatever. Like you can get a snack and get on the People Mover and a drinking on the People Mover and have a thing.
Like I would like a swim up bar on the People Mover.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, they could make it.
You're going by. You could grab some drinks.
Look, you can take a snack and drink on the People Mover right now.
Yes, but it wouldn't be.
You're not supposed to, but you can. I mean, that makes it more fun that you're having to sneak around and do it, right? It's kind of like doing the double feature at the movies, and you're only paying for one ticket. I mean,
I never did that. I don't break those rules, dude.
Oh man!
Here's how much I love the People Mover. I want to see the People Mover over at the World Showcase in Epcot.
Oh,
that's how much I love that that system. I want to see it go around because let's face it. There are times you have to hoof it back to Italy to catch a dinner. And you are straight running body checking people to get back there to get your reservation in time.
And have it to where you have, several different stops. I mean,
yeah,
it never stops anyway. So that wouldn't slow things up.
It would be like
all.
the Skyliner. It just slow enough for you to get off.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like it is now in Magic. I like that idea.
Hey, listen, if we can
refurbishing.
So the one I've said that before. So the one person said to me, the aesthetic of the World Showcase would be ruined by that. Well, now we have the Stargate in the middle of the World Showcase. So I don't think it would ruin the aesthetic. The new Sky nighttime attraction, literally they built the Stargate in the middle of the lagoon.
Yeah, with the harmonious. That would bring a whole new meaning to drinking around the world, though, Mark. Like,
well, no, it just makes it faster.
And that's what I'm saying. That could be a huge problem.
Like 10 minutes into the park, you're splashed.
Yeah,
people be riding on the People Mover in World Showcase. They
wouldn't even be moving around the park at all.
No. Shots. They get to like by the time they get to Japan, it's like 4 minutes into the experience. Everybody.
No, like you could turn it into the Madagascar dance party scene.
It's like, watch this, a sake bomb in 60 seconds.
What has happened to this show?
Hey.
It's gotten so good. All right, James, what's your Reimagine, buddy?
All right. So we've talked about this on our show, and I got to stick with it because I love the idea so much. I want to Reimagine test track to Sugar Rush. Make it Sugar Rush from Wreck-It Ralph. I mean, let's be honest. The way, ever since they changed test track, people don't like it like they used to. And we've got to get some more Wreck-It Ralph stuff in there. Mark just took himself off screen. He said, I don't want to be a part of this. But I do. I think that would be really cool. We need Wreck-It Ralph. Epcot's going to more IP stuff anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
Well, people need to remember that just because you love Disney and just because things are very, nostalgic for people, you kind of need to update it. It's like, I love the original Beauty and the Beast, but I'm not pulling that movie out every week to watch it. And you need more.
So I not only don't hate that idea, I love that idea that you just came up with for two reasons. One, I'm a giant fan of Wreck-It Ralph.
Love it.
Two, I love Wreck-It Ralph. It's one of my favorite IPs. And secondly, without the Build-A-Car, I feel like the experience isn't as good. But imagine how cool that Build-A-Car section would be if it's like the when Vanellope is building her racer and Ralph is in the studio building the racer. Like that's kind of the whole essence of that scene where it's like, no, more frosting. And then Ralph could help you build it on the screen. And then you've got your racer by the end of it. That is, bro, like high five to that right there through the screen.
And I got to say this, so just so people don't think that I copied it. There was a Disney blog that, wrote that idea the other day in an article. Mm-hmm. And I want it documented that it was the second week of January that we said that idea on our pod. And they put that article out about 4 days ago. So we said it first.
Yep.
We're not copying.
I don't hate it. Well, listen, this one's been said by a lot of people. My Reimagine is a very popular Reimagine. I am very firm. I was on the fence about this one. It was like a 70-30 feeling that I had for my Reimagine because I love the ride that's there right now. I love the Grand Fiesta Tour. I just wrote it. We got back and they had paper characters in the last room.
Yeah.
And it at that moment, then it fell flat for me. And all the TLC of the ride is gone. So Grand Fiesta Tour, I love you. We've had a great run. I love the fact that I can jump on the Grand Fiesta Tour in 5 minutes without having to wait. But it's time for Coco to take over the Mexican Pavilion. It's one of my favorite Pixar movies. I can see the scenes as I'm going on that boat ride. I can see the various scenes there. We talked about this when you and I talked on taking rides and kind of changing some of the rides. And we talked about like our favorites, the underappreciated, the underrated favorites. And this was on there. And I said then, projection mapping on this ride to take you to the land of the dead would be absolutely incredible. People have been calling for this. I think it's a matter of time for that to happen, and it's a matter of money. When Disney gets enough money, this is gonna take place. Take Grand Fiesta Tour like they did with Maelstrom. Sorry, Derek, Maelstrom forever, but everything is going to change over in the World Showcase. More IPs are coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, they keep coming out with all these new movies and stuff like Coco and Wreck-It Ralph, which isn't like the newest movie ever, but I mean, there's a lot of new stuff out there.
Yeah.
Bring it to the park.
I mean, Ralph Breaks the Internet is still fairly new, right? I mean,
3 years?
Is it that
at this point, they've got a Frozen ride and that's it. And all of our younger generations, like our kids, they need stuff that they are going to love and they are going to feel nostalgic about.
I mean, Wreck-It Ralph is a lot newer than the test dummies, the crash dummies that we used to have on Test Track. We don't even have those anymore.
Nope.
Those were awesome.
Well, people have called for the Radiator Springs over there, and to have that transformed into Radiator Springs, like they have over in Disney California Adventure.
I don't hate that idea. That was one. I'm not going to get into that right now. I'll talk about it in a minute.
I mean, maybe it's just me, but I see enough cars stuff everywhere, and the kids love it. But do we really need more cars stuff?
I agree. I'm not a big fan of cars.
I mean, it's kind of like there's nothing really. I'm not loving the idea of Radiator Springs. So sorry, guys.
No, that's okay. You're not hurting anybody's feelings here. All right. So now the part that I feel like could potentially get us in trouble.
This is where we're in trouble.
Yeah, this is where I got in trouble on the internet when I said remove the laugh floor. So I am not going to say that again. I've already stepped in it with that one. So that one's off the table for me. So I'm going to pick another remove because I don't want to get in trouble twice. But Sarah's going to go first. Sarah, what ride, if you had to remove, gone, get rid of it, don't like it, adds nothing to my experience, just gone. No replacement. Yeah, no replacement, just get rid of it.
Okay, so
her voice is getting cracked. Her voice is cracking. That scares me. She's taking her jacket off. For those of you who are listening, this is about. I'm terrified.
So,
the Queen of Hot Takes is about to come at us.
I'm gonna I have two. To be fair, one of them isn't really a rod or whatever, but I have something that I want gone. But starting on the easy end, I want them to get rid of. It's tough to be a bug. Like it's just buy. Like
Mark Adams just broke the screen.
Like
Piano Rob just jumped through his roof.
Like that's not even a rod that you can reimagine and make it worth going to.
Wow.
I mean, we have ant killer and roach killer and all this other stuff for a reason.
Well, that's kind of the point.
No, it's not. I don't like bugs, so I don't like the show.
Look, they could have
ridiculous.
snakes in there too.
I don't want that either. Like I'm saying, I want all of it gone. I didn't come to the park to watch It's a Bug's Life.
But it's so fun.
No, it's not. It wasn't even that great of a movie. Like it was okay, but I don't even care. And can someone just snip Tinkerbell's lawn?
Oh no. Oh no. Tinkerbell, she wants Tinkerbell gone from
She's on my hit
Happily
list.
ever after.
What's the zip line?
She's on my hit list. Bye, girl. Or guy.
Okay.
Wow, that escalated quickly.
It did.
I warned you. It was a build up. I told you, multiple times.
Sarah killed a guy.
I really need to get her an email address.
Once again, please send all hate mail courtesy of Mouse Ears and Magic Podcast. The views expressed here are not shared by this Dislife Podcast.
We'll walk around the park, interaction, but just I don't limit my forced visual.
All right, so James,
You don't mind her
she's gonna be rolling around the park.
You don't mind her having,
legs.
you don't mind her having a meet and greet.
Yeah, because I don't have to go to that.
Right. You just want her gone from happily ever after.
Yeah, like just who needs her? I don't even pay attention to her, but no, ugh.
She you block her out as she's going through the sky with your hands, so you don't have to look
sitting there. She's watching happily ever after, just
blocking her out.
All right, the is gone.
All right. So my
I'm scared. Before you do this, I'm scared because you kind of had a villainous laugh to this when you said wait till you see my remove. So I'm really scared that the hate mail is going to come from this one specifically. So I'm holding tight. Go ahead.
Spectre clench.
I'm getting rid of it. Look, I'm sorry. It's a waste of time. It's overhyped. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Just get rid of it. Let's put something better that would be worth the wait. I mean, it's like a great location, yet, I mean, the ride's just not that good, if I'm being honest.
Okay. Hold on. I love this idea. I'm fine with it. But I also need to say that I need to go back to Refurbish in a minute.
Okay.
So here's why I'm not okay with it. That was like my training wheels bike. That roller coaster.
Oh
It was. You know my story. I've told the story like at least 6 times about how I was terrified to ride roller coasters.
Yep.
That was my training wheels roller coaster. And when you go on that at night, and especially when you go on during the fireworks, that ride is so amazing.
Right.
I think you might feel that way because on our last foray into the parks, everything wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I mean, it kind of, and you're not a kid anymore.
Everything about the ride was working. The stuff, you couldn't do some of the stuff in the queue.
I feel like a lot of the rides are just renditions of each other.
Now, to be fair, I've also never waited in an hour and a half or 2 hour line to get on it. Well, I could see like your perspective would probably rub off on me more if I had to wait that long to ride a 2.5 or 3 minute roller coaster.
I ain't waiting that long.
We waited 15 minutes in September, dude.
Yeah.
And I still feel that way. It just wasn't, it's not. It's
a kiddie coaster. It's a kiddie coaster. Mm-hmm.
But so is Barnstormer. But I love Barnstormer. I would wait, 20-25 minutes for Barnstormer. Yeah. I would wait in a longer line for Barnstormer.
So wait, you would take the Barnstormer over Seven Dwarfs Mine Train?
Yes.
Okay, is it just me, or is the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and the Barnstormer and what's the other one? I'm thinking of another one. Anyways, there's 3 of them that are basically the same thing with a little bit theming difference, but it's the same freaking ride.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like Big Thunder Mountain and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train are very close.
Yeah.
In some regard. So that's why when I got comfortable with doing that one, the next one I rode was Big Thunder Mountain because I felt like it was essentially the same ride experience with you had the mountains and the build up. You didn't feel like you were really high up. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train has a lot of back and forth. It's got a lot of side to side motion. Whereas Big Thunder, you do get some of those curves and the quick, there's 1 or 2 really quick dip downs and drops where you pop up out of your seat. You don't get that in Seven Dwarfs unless you're sitting in the back when you get like the whip effect as you're coming over the hill. I listen, I disagree, but I can understand it's prime real estate. But that's what a lot of people say about a lot of the stuff that's in the new Fantasyland. A lot of people don't dig on the Little Mermaid. They don't dig on Seven Dwarfs because they feel like it was a really big area of the park that you took the entire 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. They had a real golden opportunity to do something great there, and they just kind of created kiddie rides. But that's an area of the park that really is kid friendly. But that's Magic Kingdom is kid friendly.
Winnie the Pooh is right across from it, isn't it? Like Seven Dwarfs. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
What do you look?
Every time you say Winnie the Pooh, I think about that joke you told, like episode, was it like 14 or something?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I figured you wouldn't. I have that saved on the computer. So, anyways, but yeah, dude, I'm sorry. Like Seven Dwarfs it's overhyped. Like you said, it's prime real estate. Honestly, I don't hate Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
At least I love the queue. I love the whole area over there. And it's a nice, cool ride.
Well, maybe if they just replaced it with another ride that, like, okay, there's a lot of rides that are pretty intense roller coasters, and their, height requirements pretty low and stuff like that. Like, why not, And maybe if you need a small, like, Training Wheels coaster, use the area where, like, Dumbo is.
Yeah, Barnstormer.
And do, like, a really small, just around in a circle or, whatever.
Well, you have Barnstormer. I mean, that's basically what it is. But
I mean, I just feel like with all those rides out there, they're a lot, like, really close. I love, like, Barnstormer and all that, but they're a lot alike. I mean...
Yeah. If we can make Barnstormer just a little longer, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
I feel like the energy of the podcast just went, cool.
Nah.
I think Mark is just questioning our friendship right now.
No, what I'm doing right now is I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to go where I'm about to go with my pick? Because I can feel the hate mail already. But I'm going to do it. So we said this last week. Tomorrowland is in dire need of some really new stuff. Tomorrowland does not feel like the world of tomorrow at all. Tron is going to be sticking out like a sore thumb because it's the only thing that looks relatively futuristic in something that looks like the future of the 1950s. And then you've got Tron. James, I'm really sorry. It's got to go. The Speedway has nothing to do with Tomorrowland at all. First of all, those go-karts it's not the transportation of tomorrow. The smell of it is disgusting. If you've ever been there in the spring when the love bugs are there are swarms of love bugs that live in that area of the park because of the fumes.
Isn't the future of tomorrow going as green as possible? Anyway?
Yeah. You cannot get from the teacups over to Space Mountain fast enough for me that I have to hold my breath and like run past that area. That I cannot, I'm just going to say it. I can't stand the Speedway. I can't stand it. I want it gone. And talk about like a waste of space. That area of the park can house so many things other than the road for that Speedway. And if you've ever driven on that with a little kid, yeah, it's cute for about 45 seconds with your kid in the driver's.
Then you're just stuck to the side. Yeah.
Or your kid is trying to correct. And then you want to talk about a bad back. You're just going crack, crack, crack as your kid's bouncing back and forth between the metal rail.
I rode it with, let's see, Phoenix was 2, our first trip there. I rode it with a 2-year-old driving who couldn't even see over the steering wheel.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What are you looking at me for?
It's horrible.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's horrible. It's a terrible ride. Some people would like you did the Wreck-It Ralph retheme. Some people want to see it rethemed. I don't want to see it rethemed. I just want to see it gone. I want to see it gone.
All right, let me put my 2 cents in there if I can. Can I put my 2 cents in?
Absolutely. Because he's mad. I could see it. He's devastated right now. I straight up, he's questioning our friendship. I crushed him.
Okay, so I have like a lot of thoughts on this. Let's start with Tomorrowland was built in the mid-50s. So this did look futuristic to them, but it's kind of like the Carousel of Progress when you get to the future that's progress and it's like stuff that we had when we were kids, like it was the future then, it's not now. So Tomorrowland in general, it really needs some updates. Like, holy crap, we have the ability to do what they call like 3D imaging and stuff. Like, what am I trying to say here from like the Star Wars stuff?
Like the 3D projections and the mapping? Yes, holograms. I
mean, why not bring some of that to Tomorrowland? Like, I mean, there's like a lot of different ways they could update that a lot, and the Speedway does need to be updated. I think kids love it so much because they're getting to drive. They think they're driving. They feel like they're driving. All of that. I personally do not think it's healthy for kids to be smelling all of those fumes. And the people working those, attractions, like they're just sitting there all day and they smelling gas.
It's not a great ride. It needs, so I love the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but I understood that it was a lot of real estate and it was not a really big return on investment. It wasn't getting a lot of people through it. The cars, like it does churn a lot of people through the line, but even still, that's a lot of real estate. They can put a few rides in there and they can put a lot of stuff in there that would really spruce up Tomorrowland. Cars are not the thing of the future either. Like it just thematically, it does not fit for me. Get rid of it. Yeah,
cars are not. But I had this thought, like if they wanted to keep the cars and all that, but get rid of that gas smell and the clunkiness. Okay, so basically the only thing you can do on the ride is stop and start. Like you can't actually go anywhere or get faster for real.
If you're going to say hover cars, I'm all about it. Let's do it.
Okay, that would be cool. But I mean, there's freaking rides in like Dollywood, I think it is. I can't remember. It's been so long that it looks like you're actually driving. Like the track is under the car and underground, so it doesn't really look like whatever. And you're stopping and going, but you're not like going all over the place. It's smoother, is what I'm saying. It looks more authentic. It's smoother. And you're not going to be like smelling the fumes because they could do it like underground, like an electric type situation.
James, I'm sorry for breaking your heart.
So I want to change my remove.
He's removing.
Oh no!
I'm just going to go ahead and remove Mark from this show. I'm just canceling Mark. Like, listen, I don't hate refurbing the Speedway, but I think that it is it is great. I'm sorry. It is. If you want to get rid of anything in Tomorrowland, like completely remove it, get rid of that freaking music.
Yeah.
Okay. So real quick, let's get in real trouble. Real quick, rapid fire. Don't think about it. Just rapid fire. No reactions. Sarah, second thing to remove. I want to get you in real trouble.
I mean, I would remove the Carousel
of Progress.
Yeah, I mean, it's traditional and all that, but it's falling apart. It's literally murdered somebody, and it's creepy. It's a good place to sleep, though.
All right, James, second remove.
Bye before I get killed.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
we're broke now. I mean, we're about to get canceled. I want to remove Jungle Cruise.
What? Okay. Once again, all hate mail can be sent.
Listen,
Magic Pod.
Let's get the bad situation.
I mean, Jungle Cruise, like, the only thing that is, makes the Jungle Cruise worthy of riding is the skipper, right?
And we always get the worst.
always have the worst skipper.
We just had the best skipper I've ever had. So that's why I'm not feeling it. That's why I'm not feeling that right now. I just had, in all the years I've been going, I just had the best skipper on the Jungle Cruise that we've ever had.
We just, like, on our last ride on it, our skipper was so bad that, like, no one was reacting to her at all. Like, nothing. Not a chuckle, not a...
And she was so slow and monotone that we beat her to some of the jokes. And people laughed then. Like, we just... The skipper makes that ride.
I don't know if she was just having a really bad day or...
If you're depending on one person to make a ride, like, it's just not worth it. Get rid of it.
Especially when nothing really changes. Like, out there, like, if they got out there and moved some stuff around so that every single time you weren't completely sure of what, it's going to happen.
And you want to talk about dated stuff, like, everything in there is so dated. So I'm just saying.
All right, ready for my remove?
Go ahead.
Get rid of Soren. Get rid of Soren. It's old. Once you go on Flight of Passage, it ruined. If you don't have Flight of Passage, I get it. Soren is.
It's the only thing you can ride.
It's old.
Soren. I mean, look.
No, get rid of Soren.
You can't get rid of a ride at Epcot because there's not many over
there.
Well,
no, from that aspect, yes, you can't get rid of much at Epcot, but it's old. It needs to be retired. Something else should go in there that makes use of that. Again, it's a large space. It can be updated with some way better tech. The technology's out there to get a better 3D experience. The ride is old. I'm tired of looking at people's smelly feet hanging in front of my head and crooked Eiffel Tower. If you don't sit in the middle, if you don't sit in the middle, it's like I'm just going to take a nap and have wind hit my face for the next 10 minutes.
I need a blow dry.
You go from seeing the Eiffel Tower to seeing the Leaning Tower of Paris.
Yep.
Okay. So, kind of on that idea, the Flight of Passage really needs a little bit of... Hold on. I'm not getting rid of the ride. I'm not changing the actual ride itself, but their ride, like the actual mechanism that you sit on, they need to update that a little bit so that it's more accessible to more people. Like, I noticed when Jameson, he fit on it, he was tall enough and all this stuff, but he did not have a great ride experience.
Yeah.
You couldn't even do it because, like, the back part on your legs
it wouldn't lay down on my ankles.
Which is ridiculous because you're basically, it's like you're basically sitting on, those motorcycles in arcades where you turn to ride the... Right. It's a lot like that. So, why can't they have something and that would change that?
Yeah.
And then there's people that if you did that to their legs, they're going to lose their minds. Mm-hmm. Like, claustrophobia, PTSD. There's a lot of things that could go wrong there.
Yeah. I understand that it's not the most inclusive ride experience for everybody. It's a good point.
And then it's not very inclusive.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't have to change the actual, like, imaging and all the other stuff. They can leave all of that behind or leave it, like, alone. But they could change, like, make some adjustments to the actual, what would you call it? Like, the thing you're sitting on?
The ride vehicle.
Yeah, the ride vehicle. There we go.
Well, guys, I don't know if we made it out today unscathed. Of course, we won't know until this hits Apple Podcast
tomorrow. Be aired. Yep. This is a show that never aired.
Well, look, we thought last week, when we got done, we're like, we didn't break the internet after all. Nobody's really going to react to this, and boy, were we wrong.
What happened?
on last week's show.
Yeah, last week's show, it was funny. James and I clicked the button to stop the recording, and I kind of said, "Hey, I don't think that this show was controversial at all. Like, no, there was no problem with it."
What was controversial? I probably know, and I'm not.
I'll tell you what. You can just ask Alicia. Alicia was the first one that was blowing us up. So
yeah. Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah.
You know what? A hot take Alicia has. She hates hot takes.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
She hates hot takes.
She's not wrong though. Kylo Ren is pretty hot.
He's not as hot as Anakin was.
He's not hot in like looks.
Sarah, you need to have that on that discussion. I'm going to cut you. That discussion has no place here. That's got to be on the Women of Disney podcast. I know it
soon coming.
I know it's coming soon. That discussion needs to happen on the women because James, look at how awkward James is already right now. He's turning beet red.
No, it's just things that you were saying right there. And it took her a lot longer to hit the bell than I thought it would.
Yeah, I was trying to like hold back. I'm sorry, Mark, but a lot of okay, there's a lot of things that you say that's just perfectly timed and worded to be like pop, pop, pop.
Yeah. That's what she said.
Oh yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the bell probably could have gone off about 900 times in this show, but so James and Sarah, tell everybody at home again where they can find your amazing podcast, Mouse Ears and Magic. Where can we find you? What time can we find you guys? I love you both. You guys are amazing. Thanks for hanging out with us and trying to break the internet.
We're going
into witness protection after this one.
We're changing our identities.
So for the next about 12 hours, you can find us over at on Facebook at Mouse Ears and Magic Podcast, Instagram Mouse Ears and Magic Pod with an underscore between each word, and on YouTube at Mouse Ears and Magic Podcast.
Awesome. And you can find us at the same over at this Dislife Network. And again,
before.
You can find us over this Dislife Network at www.thisdislifepodcast.com. Thank you so much for James and Sarah. I laugh hysterically when we record, and then when we listen back, it makes for even more laughter when we realize all of the things that Mark said that could have set off the bell.
Hey, and also come hang out with all of us over in the Dislife Facebook group. Mark, the link to that is facebook.com/groups/this Dislife.
That's it. Yep. So and check out, and if you're enjoying this audio only podcast, we have all of these over on YouTube as well. youtube.com/this Dislife. And we have not only the live shows that we have recorded and then put over there. Mouse Ears and Magic hosts their podcast there. Magic Monday Lane brings us Magic Makers, where they show us some Disney recipes, and they make all kinds of stuff. John Hinson has Everyday Magic. He is going to release a brand new festival vlog very soon. Give Me the Magic with Allison and John. What else am I forgetting? Oh, riding with this Dislife.
Adult game night, family game night.
Dis News.
We've
got stuff.
Marvel Monday. Star Wars coming up soon.
We've got stuff. Thank you for stealing the bell. Thank you for joining us during this show.
There's a bell on it.
I hope that you guys had as much fun as I did with this episode. Thank you so much as always for joining us. I hope that you have a wonderful week. James and Sarah, thank you so much for joining us, and have a great week. I hope that it's filled with faith, trust, and pixie dust.
No pixie dust.
We'll see you real soon.